So congrats on the new show. What superheroes and villains did you guys grow up watching?
After you, Malachi.
I mean, did I grow up watching? I mean, I'm kind of sort of still growing up.
Yeah.
I'm not too, I'm still pretty young. But no, I mean, the basics, Captain America, Iron Man, Thor, all of those guys. I mean, all the Avengers. I mean, those were my people.
Yeah. And how about you?
I mean, this is known amongst the cast, but I've been like reading comic books since as long as I can remember. I've always dug that world. But as far as watching goes, I mean, I talked about this. I loved the '90s X-Men cartoon. I love the X-Men. But yeah, I mean, just like Malachi, I'm in that superhero world. I know all the characters. I feel like I have this like encyclopedia of knowledge about superheroes that people can just ask me and I'll fire off knowledge. But yeah, no, I mean, I embrace it all. I love superheroes. It's such a cool concept. Yeah, so all of it really.
Very cool. And your show, aside from Disney Channel, is also going on Disney Plus. So what have you guys been binging recently?
Ooh, okay. So, not so much recently, but my parents and I we sat down and man, Mandalorian. Come on now, you can't get enough of Mandalorian. Got to sit down. Also, just gotta binge the old classics, like some of the old oldies. Not like old, okay, old to me, not old to me. Like
I was gonna say,
rewatching things I watched when I was 4 and 5 and young.
Yeah, for sure. Awesome. And what was the experience and what was going through your minds when you each tried on your first costumes for the show?
I remember our suits, or at least my suit specifically, has changed a lot over the course of making this show. I remember when we shot the pilot before the show got picked up to series, and the suit was very different than it is now and how we see it in the first episode. So I thought that I was going to have the same suit when we filmed the rest of the series, and they're like, no, it's going to be different. We're going to change. We have all this stuff that we want to do with it. So I went in for like 15 fittings of like taking measurements and trying on different elements. Like I never put on the whole thing in one piece until the actual day. But you spend so much time like working with this suit and getting certain elements. Like there was a point where Chaos had a helmet, and you're like, they went through so many different things that they wanted to try. And then by the time we were done, we felt like it was in a really good place, and like you can see it on screen, like it works really well. It pops and it looks good from no matter where the camera is situated. It's such a cool suit. I feel blessed to wear it every time I get to on screen.
That's amazing. And since this is a show with superheroes and villains, what has been your favorite stunt or special effect for each of you?
Oh man.
I I know.
Ah.
Me for me, I mean, this was kind of just a special moment. It was the first ever time that I got to do like the cuts and stuff for my first ever time revealing that I had shapeshifting. Because it was cool. I mean, I'm the last sibling to find out what their power was, and so it was something special. It was when I turned into the water cooler, and it was my first ever time experiencing like the clean slate and then the other shots that we had to do, and it was really cool. It was a really special moment.
Awesome. And what about for you? Do you have a standout moment?
Oh man, I think a great standout moment, and I feel like I can talk about this right after Colby gets his powers. He talks about he's never had a villain experience anymore, and so the siblings kind of take it upon themselves to kind of show him the ropes a little bit, give him a little bit of an experience, so he feels less excluded. And so Jake kind of sets up this whole like mock supervillain experience, and Jake and Amy kind of disagree on how to go about doing it, and so they get into a fight, and so the siblings are having this full on fight where they're using their powers, and we choreographed like combat scenes, and we had stunt doubles being thrown against lockers and stuff. But there's a bit where Jake picks up a bench in a school courtyard and just launches it at Amy. And so we had to do this whole bit of like rigging one end of the bench, and then I have to pick up the other end and just throw it as hard as I can. And we launched it across the stage. It was so cool. But doing stuff like that is always really fun.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for chatting with me. I can't wait for everyone to see the show.
Of course. Thank you.